So here are a couple things to keep in mind if you're looking for a headshot photographer. Headshot photography is a very specific kind of photography, so you want to know before you pay the money that you're going to get what you want and what you need for your career. The first thing that I would suggest that you do is go through a typing exercise. Not because you want to pigeonhole yourself into the industry, but you really need a realistic perspective on how people view you as an actor. Where do you fit in this industry? If you watch a procedural show, one of those cop or doctor shows, do you read more like a blue-collar cop or are you more like a white-collar doctor? So here's the exercise. I learned this from my friend Retta. And she suggests that you go onto a street corner, right? Some busy street corner wherever you happen to live, and you are bold enough to walk up to strangers and say, hey, if you saw me on a TV show, what kind of part would you imagine I would be playing? And you write down all of the answers of these various strangers, and you start to get an idea of how you read to other people. And they might say, oh, you would be the blue-collar waitress, or oh, I can see you as the prostitute, right? You might get some unexpected answers. Or they might say, you're the friendly student at the college who's like the nerdy but heart of gold friend. You want to start to write down these adjectives and get a bigger view of how you might happen to be cast if you walked into a casting office today. Of course, you want to apply that knowledge and perspective of strangers to what you also know about yourself as an actor. Where do you typically get cast? What are you really great at? And what kind of parts do you actually want to be playing? Once you get an idea of that, I would suggest you choose a couple of looks depending on what you're going to do with your headshot photographer to start to get a sense of what clothes can suggest those kind of roles. If you want to play a detective, you might want to do a series of shots with you in a leather jacket, some dark colors. If you want to do something a little bit more quirky and comedic, you might want to do a bright polka dot shirt. So start to think about wardrobe that suggests those character types. Then when it comes to actually choosing the photographer, interview them before you agree to pay them. That can be a conversation on the phone where you're talking to the photographer about how they shoot. What do they see as a successful shoot? What do people do to prepare? How do they run their photo shoots? You want to look for a couple of things. The first is this someone who makes a living shooting headshots? Headshot photography is very different from portraits or wedding photography. So you want to make sure you're choosing someone who is an expert at headshot photography specifically, not something that they're kind of doing as on the side that they're being supported by their wedding photography business. You also want to get a sense of, does this person make me feel comfortable? If you're not comfortable with your headshot photographer, it doesn't matter how great they are behind the lens, your pictures will reflect that you are not comfortable and not open, and that's not going to help you get the shot that you want. You also want to then make sure you and the photographer are on the same page about the kind of roles that you see yourself playing. Because if they don't see you playing those kind of roles, they're not going to be able to shoot you doing that. And those would be my top tips to finding a photographer that's going to get you the look and the shoot and the level of comfort that you need to have a rockin' headshot session.